Hey everyone, Gobotch here. Welcome back to the channel. We have a brand new Madden 22 update video, as today we're going to talk about each team's specific home field advantage perk that they have for their each individual home stadium. So if you like today's video, hit that thumbs up and comment below and let me know which of these 32 teams has the best home field advantage perk, and also let me know which team has the absolute worst home field advantage perk. Let me know down below, but let's get into the first one. All right, well, we're going to start this thing off with the San Francisco 49ers, and their home field advantage is called unstable ground, where the opposing team has an increasingly hard time changing directions. So it's pretty interesting. Of course, they're going there with kind of the, San Francisco out there in the West Coast. There's a lot of earthquakes and things of that nature, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to play in game. I can see it maybe getting a little frustrating, especially if this is in action, but it makes it hard for you to change direction. So maybe if you're trying to juke or have a specific cut out of a slant, or maybe a stop and go, whatever you're trying to do, I guess your team is going to have a problem planting their feet and changing directions quickly. Again, the 49ers, unstable ground, makes it hard to change directions. Moving into the next one, we're going with the Chicago Bears. Their home field advantage is called bear down, where the away team's kick meter will always move slightly faster. So again, you're in the windy city out there in Chicago. If you're the opposing team's kicker, their meter, which is changed and looks a lot different from prior years, will now move slightly faster compared to the home side. So if you're the home kicker, it's not going to move as much. If you're the away kicker playing at the Bears and bear down is active, it's going to make it harder for you basically to have more accurate field goals, because that kicking meter will be moving faster compared to the opposing side. Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, their home field advantage is called Houday, and basically their ability gives no huddle results and reduced clock runoff. So no huddles will now result in reduced clock runoff, so they're going to be able to kind of run out the clock quicker. Or it's going to take less time off the clock. We known prior, typically when you do a no huddle, it takes off like 15 plus seconds, it seems like, and it seems impossible to get quick plays off. With this perk in place, it's going to have a reduced clock runoff, which means it's not going to take as much time off the clock if you do a no huddle offense, which means if you're wanting to do a more spread, quick, pace offense, this will work well for you. Overall, though, not, in my opinion, not a great perk. Moving off to the Buffalo Bills, their home field advantage is called downwind. Downwind gives the away team kicking arc is harder to control. So similar to what was happening with the Bears and their kicking meter being faster in its movement, with the downwind here with the Bills, it makes the away team's kicking arc, it will make it harder to control. So that means you're going to have much more inaccurate kicks. Be very interesting to see how that plays in hand in our franchise playthrough. Moving on to Mile High, we're going to the Denver Broncos. Their home field advantage is called Mile High, and that basically makes away team players will have less stamina during plays. Of course, we all know the atmosphere in Mile High Stadium out there in Denver. It can take you, it can make you a little bit loopy. It makes it hard for you to catch your breath, because you're, the atmosphere, the air's, it's thinner up there, of course. So that means that players during plays will have less stamina. So let's say there's a player that, catches a big pass, breaks a tackle or two, and is off to the races, but in Mile High Stadium with this active, they may run out of gas quicker, which means they may get caught by the opposing defense that's on the home side for the Broncos. So very interested to see how that plays out. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, their home field advantage is called the dog pound, and this one pretty in depth here. Away team hot routes will have a chance to fail when they're in the red zone. So this requires them to be made again. Okay, so when you make a hot route, let's say you're trying to change a vertical to a slant or a drag route in the red zone, your away team's not going to hear that. That receiver you're trying to do a hot route to will not hear that, so you're going to have to make that hot route again, which means more time is going off the play clock, which means you may have to call a timeout or just run the play and just, call it a loss for that receiver. So receivers who are in a hot route will temporarily receive a question mark indicator bubble at the time of the hot route to signify that that player may be unsure of their designated route. Pretty interesting. I actually like this mechanic into the game. I'm interested to see how this plays in our franchise playthroughs. Now moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. Their home field advantage is called Fire the Cannons, where home team players will have their fatigue temporarily replenished when they reach the red zone. This, in my opinion, seems pretty dang powerful to me. So when the Buccaneers reach the red zone, their players on the home team, on the Buccaneers, will have their fatigue temporarily replenished. So that means you could have a gritty going down the field. Maybe you're backed up off a punt. You went like 70 yards. Now you're in the red zone. Your players are tired. They get in the red zone. Now they get a boost and they're replenished and they're ready to go score. Pretty powerful in my opinion. Tell me what y'all think about that. Moving on to Arizona, the Cardinals, their home field advantage is called Rise Up Red Sea, and theirs is pretty simple. With Rise Up Red Sea, the home team, the Cardinals, will gain momentum faster, which we all know that could spiral into some pretty powerful things for that team. So again, all that is it makes their home team advantage, their momentum will gain faster. Moving off to the Los Angeles Chargers, theirs is called Bolt Up. Home team with Bolt Up will gain momentum bonuses for yardage gains. So just like the Cardinals before, this one's a little bit different. The home team, the Chargers, will gain bonus momentum when they have yardage gains. So if they get a big gain, 20, 30 yard gain, that's going to give them a big bonus momentum for their overall momentum on the field for their stadium. Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Their advantage is called Home of the Chiefs, and their ability gives offensive audibles made by the away team a chance to fail. So if the away team sees something you're doing on defense they like, they want to change a quick play, with Home of the Chiefs, this ability for the home field advantage, it will make that audible maybe have a chance to fail, which means it doesn't work. Pretty interesting to see how that works in action. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, where of course new quarterback out there from Philly. Hope he has a great year for them. We'll see. Theirs is called Hat Count, not hard count, hat count. The home team's defense can see the hat count on all plays via Coach Cam. Interested to see how this works. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. Are they talking about like a hard count or they try to get you to jump off sides? I'm not quite sure, but it says the home team defense will be able to see the hat count on all plays via Coach Cam. I really want to see what this looks like because really it's kind of a shot in the dark here for me. I'm not exactly sure what to make of this one. Y'all let me know in the comments. What do you think of hat count for the Colts? What do you exactly think this is? Moving on to my Dallas Cowboys. Theirs is called Deflected. And basically what this does, the opposing team's punt distance is shortened when they're kicking across the 50-yard line. So we've seen this happen in real life. Teams that are kicking in midfield, sometimes they've kicked the giant Jumbotron at the Cowboys Stadium, at AT&T Stadium. I guess this is going to be the perk for the Cowboys home field advantage. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's going to make punting around midfield more difficult. It's going to make punting distances shorter across midfield when playing against the Cowboys as the opposing team. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins, theirs is called Made in the Shade, and theirs is simple. The home team will fatigue slower. So if you're playing as the Miami Dolphins, you're at home, you're going to fatigue slower than that of your opposing team because, again, you're playing in the shade. That's their stadium's bonus there. So pretty interesting to see. The Philadelphia Eagles, theirs is called Linked In. Get it? Theirs is called While Winning. When winning, the Eagles will gain more momentum and the opposing team will gain less momentum. So kind of a give and take there. Pretty interested to see how that plays. The Atlanta Falcons is called Rise Up, where the Falcons as a home team will gain a flat amount of bonus momentum on each offensive play. So every play they get a set bonus momentum on every single offensive play they have. That seems pretty dang good. I'm interested to see how that plays off with other things. Moving on to the New York Football Giants, you have Turf War, where the enemy team, the away team, players will fatigue faster. So if the Cowboys are off and they're playing there in the Meadowlands against the Giants on the road, the Cowboy players will fatigue faster compared to that of the Giant players. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Trevor Lawrence will now be the dude. Theirs is called Duval, and that basically makes the Jaguars as a home team gain bonus momentum on every single touchdown they get, which you would kind of expect that to begin with, but they get even more momentum based off this Duval advantage. Moving on to the New York Jets, theirs is again same as the Giants, called Turf War, where the enemy, the away team, will have their players fatigue faster. Same thing as the Giants. It's kind of a downer in my opinion, both of them, for the Giant fans and the Jet fans. I'm not sure what y'all think. Moving on to the Detroit Lions, their home field advantage is called Motor City, where the Lions as a home team will accelerate faster compared to that of the away team. So I guess that means their speed, the Motor City, you get a little bit extra motor, a little extra wheels, so you get into your acceleration for your top speed quicker with this home field advantage for the Detroit Lions. Moving on to the Packers. The Green Bay Packers is called Go Pack Go, the Frozen Tundra. And this does two things. First, the home team, the Packers, gain momentum, more momentum, and the away team gains less momentum. Simple and said. And then the second thing it does, the away team will fatigue faster and will have a harder time changing directions. So this seems like a lot, and I think it is a lot, to be honest with you. Seems pretty dang powerful. If you're a Packer fan, you're probably going to love it, but you get more momentum when you're playing as the Packers at home. The away team will have less momentum, and the away team will fatigue quicker and have a harder time changing directions in the frozen tundra. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers, their home field advantage called Keep Pounding, and theirs is simple. The home team, the Panthers, will have more stamina during plays, meaning they're able to make more jukes and sprint and all of that longer than that of the away team. Moving on to the New England Patriots, their home field advantage is called Our House, where basically the Patriots as a home team will gain bonus momentum on every single touchdown and on third down stops. So that's an offense and a defensive perk there basically for them when they're on offense, or if they're on defense. If they score a touchdown period, they get bonus momentum. And if they get third down stops on defense, they get even more momentum from those third down stops as well. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders, their home field advantage is called Just Win, baby. And this gives the Raiders as a home team more momentum faster and has increased fatigue recovery when they're winning games. So if the Raiders are on top of a team, they're going to get momentum quicker, and they're going to be able to recover their fatigue quicker as well if they are winning. Pretty interesting to see. The Los Angeles Rams' home field advantage is called the Rams House, where as the Rams, the home team is given bonus momentum for making defensive stops. Pretty plain, simple. Not much more needs to be said about that. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, their home field advantage is called Trust the System. And as the Ravens, as the home team with Trust the System, they gain bonus momentum on every single running play when they are winning. Seems like that could be pretty powerful. We know the Ravens are a really run-centric team with all their different RPO stuff they do, and running and options, and reading their options and everything like they do with Lamar Jackson. If they get a lead and they keep running the football, they keep getting bonus momentum on every single run play while they are ahead of their opposing team. Moving on to what some people say is the most OP home field advantage in the game, the New Orleans Saints. Theirs is called Who Dat. And basically on this one, the away team on third and fourth down conversion attempts will have a random receiver will have the incorrect route when he lines up pre-play. Every time on a third and a fourth down conversion attempt, a random receiver will have an incorrect route when lining up in pre-play. Pretty OP in my opinion. Let me know what y'all think of Who Dat, the home field advantage for the Saints. Again, on third and fourth down conversions, a random receiver will have an incorrect route when lining up pre-play. Let me know what y'all think about that. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks, their home field advantage is called the 12s, where basically random portions of the play art for the away team's offense will be squiggly and hard to read. So we've seen this in the trailer. Basically, it's so loud in that stadium there for Seattle. If you're the away team, random portions. So if you're seeing like them doing crossing routes and slants and stuff, it's going to be like really squiggly and hard to see exactly. So I'm interested to see how that's going to really play out. I think you might get used to it over time, but obviously it's just showing you that you're kind of being shaken there, or that stadium kind of booming down on top of you making it hard for you to see your routes. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their home field advantage is called terribly distracting. Okay, so on this one, similar to what you saw with the Saints, away team hot routes will have a chance to fail on 3rd and 4th down, requiring them to be made again. So on 3rd and 4th down, if you are trying to do a hot route to one of your receivers, there's a chance that they will fail on 3rd and 4th downs, and that means you got to make that hot route again. So receivers who are hot routed will temporarily have a question mark indicator bubble at the time of the hot route to signify that they may be unsure of their specific route designated. So that is called terribly distracting for the Steelers. Moving on to the Houston Texans, theirs is called the bullpen, where the away team will gain less momentum for getting touchdowns. So when teams score touchdowns on the Texans as an opposing team, they will not get as much momentum for scoring said touchdowns. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, theirs is called Tighten Up, where home teams will avoid committing holding penalties. Well, if penalties were a big deal in Madden, that would probably be a really good advantage, but we all know sometimes penalties rarely get called in games unless you really fine-tune and tweak your sliders. But I am interested to see how this plays if penalties are more realistic than they have been in years past. Now moving on to the Minnesota Vikings, their home field advantage is called Skull. And with Skull, the home team, the Vikings, will gain a small amount of speed rating when they are in the red zone. So when the Vikings get in the red zone on offense, their team will get an increased amount of speed to their speed rating. Pretty interesting. We'll see how that plays out, especially with Dalvin Cook and different people that they have on that offensive on that team. And moving on to the last team, the Washington Football Team, as they're still called for this upcoming season. Their home field advantage is called unstable ground, similar to that of what you had with the 49ers. As an away team, it has an increasingly hard time changing directions. Same exact thing we saw as we started off with the 49ers. Basically makes it hard for them to make cuts and moves on the field. But that's going to do it. Those are all 32 of the NFL teams' home field advantages in Madden 22. Let me know down below, ladies and gentlemen, right now in the comment section, which of those home field advantages is OP and may need some changes, and which team do you think kind of got the shaft and shammed a little bit and got some of the worst home field advantages down below in the comment section. Let me know down below, and stay tuned for more Madden 22 coverage as we get ready for release coming here in the coming weeks ahead. And keep it tuned here on Gobotch for all things franchise sports gaming as always. But stay safe and well, God bless. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of it. We'll see you back here in the next one. Y'all take it easy.